Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Island Forward Live. I am your host, David Mullings, and today we're going to have a very special guest, Vivion Scully from JAMPRO, Jamaica Promotions Corporation, aka Jamaica Trade and Invest. We're going to be talking today about diversifying Jamaica's economy. As you know, Jamaica is heavily dependent on tourism, and there has been a number of moves over the years to diversify the economy. So I'm going to start with a video that JAMPRO recently released, and then we're going to bring in Vivion Scully as our guest. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that all of you will be sharing where you're from, as always. Where are you watching from? I want to big up all the Jamaicans and anybody else who is watching this. And give a shout out to where you're watching from. Let's pull up this video, and we're going to show you this. Yeah, I think this is a great video for Jamaica, and let's enjoy this.
Jamaica.
All right, so that is how JAMPRO is promoting Jamaica. I'm going to pull in Mr. Vivion Scully. Oh, yeah, a few people saying there is no sound. That is interesting. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I wasn't hearing the sound either, David.
Yeah, man. Well, I sit here and hear the
Jamaica is
sound.
a beautiful island located.
That is interesting. I might have to go back and check it. I played it before and it worked fine on the show. But yeah, I see we have Philip checking in from Toronto. And so people, Vivion, are watching this right now on Jamaicans.com Facebook page. So facebook.com/OneLoveJamaica. They're watching it on LinkedIn, on my personal LinkedIn profile, David Mullings, on YouTube, which is Bloomerhole Capital's YouTube page, and on Twitter, on my Twitter account, twitter.com/David Mullings. So big up Philip checking in from Toronto on LinkedIn. We have Kian McCullough, who is now a regular viewer who is watching. In Maryland, I see New Jersey is out here, and Maryland, good. So we're getting, we're here in the US and Canada, North America so far. I know we're going to get some people checking in from the UK and even the Middle East. So Vivion, give us a little bit of background on you and your role specifically at JAMPRO at this point in time.
All right, before we go into that, David, I have to commend you on your efforts to broaden Jamaica's brand on the international scene. You've been almost as busy as JAMPRO, if not more.
Just doing my part.
Kudos. The more, the merrier.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
So, in terms of my own personal work here at JAMPRO, as you know, I just came off of assignment in North America, where we were working out of Toronto and getting the New York office started. It's a rotation. So a colleague of mine, Shane Angus, is now in New York.
Okay.
And I'm back at headquarters working again with the BPO sector, which is where I started out with the organization. And I have to tell you that we have made tremendous inroads in that sector. When we started out here, we had about 10,000 employees in a sector that was from 2004 to around 2010, 12, thereabouts.
10,000.
Yeah, I think we're doing probably about 1,000 employees a year in that sector.
Wow.
Or under that. But since that time, we have grown fourfold. We're now up to 43,000 employees in the sector as at the end of 2019. And
So what allowed you to grow it so much? How have you been marketing Jamaica to these companies that have been, hiring people and pushing work into Jamaica?
we took a long-term view to it when we came in the sector. And when we started out, I used to make a comment that it was like the perfect storm in 2012.
Right.
In that people were, it was looking overseas. I mean, the industry was developed in Asia, but it was kind of at a mature stage, and persons were kind of, pivoting these long trips overseas. They had issues, with language,
Right.
and all of a sudden, the nearshore was a tremendous option. And so we took an approach to go where the business was, which was India at the time. And tremendous amount of networking, working with companies there, and establishing our footprint and presence. Jamaica, as you know, and often you speak about, is the third largest English-speaking territory outside of the United States and Canada. So obviously, we are like the first point of resource in seeking talent.
Right. Makes sense.
Right.
And we have a pretty solid education system in terms of the talent that we're producing. We're on the same, as you always say, we're on the same time zone, East Coast, as New York as well. So, and Jamaica is a hop, skip, and a jump for these people to visit.
We used to jokingly say, if the US coughs or sneezes, we get a cold. But that was also a good thing, because we are right on the doorsteps of the largest market, one of the largest markets in the world for corporate business. And so we've been able to capitalize on that. Our companies here, which number upwards of 60 at the moment.
Wow.
Companies employing over 40,000 persons, service a wide array of Fortune 500 businesses in North America, the US, and Canada at the moment.
So what do you say to the people who think that BPO is only limited to call centers and they consider it basic jobs? How would you point out to them that there's so much more to BPO and deal with that?
There is so much more, because what is today BPO at some point was only call centers. And the word BPO means business process outsourcing. So we've taken the business a step up, and need more than a step up, because when it started back in 2000, early 2000, when the telecoms industry was opened up,
right,
doing what was then cards with data entry cards only. People were just typing in information on tons of these index-like looking cards, which was the start of the industry back then. We moved to call centers, and now we've gone a step further into business process outsourcing. Hence, the reason for your discussion here today is around diversifying the workforce and the opportunities here. We're moving now into more significant areas, a step up into knowledge process outsourcing, which is a step up from BPO.
Right. No, and that's great. I noticed that we had originally seen a BPO hub essentially build out in Portmore initially, and then it seemed to have shifted even more to Montego Bay. I know that we had come up with our SEZ legislation, our Special Economic Zone legislation. How has all of that helped determine where BPO centers spring up in Jamaica? And do we expect other centers to come up, a Mandeville or somewhere else, or is really going to be Portmore, Kingston, Montego Bay?
That's an excellent observation. The BPOs that we have today were born out of what were the textile manufacturing factories of decades ago.
Right.
When textile left us to Mexico and to China, Vietnam, all of a sudden these buildings were empty. And that provided the space to facilitate all these outsourcing companies. It actually started with most of the workforce in Montego Bay. And the reason for that, overseas companies knew Jamaica as Montego Bay.
Right.
tourism, which has been flying our flag for decades, has been the main point of information of what people know about Jamaica.
True.
We used to go to meetings and we would say, you know, the opening thing in the meeting was, how many persons here have ever been to Jamaica? And you see 5 or 6 hands go up in the meeting. And this is a meeting with corporate America. Okay, how many persons know of someone who has been to Jamaica, gotten married, gone on a vacation? The other hands go up, and at least 9 out of 10 persons would know Jamaica because of tourism.
Exactly.
And so Montego Bay became the hub for the outsourcing because persons were comfortable to go to Montego Bay. You know, there's always the issue about crime being in Jamaica, and Kingston is a hotspot. So persons were scared of coming to Kingston. But interestingly, Kingston has the larger percent of the workforce, meaning that 70% of our population resides in and around Kingston and St. Catherine. And so as the industry grew, persons gotten more comfortable with Jamaica and being in Montego Bay, they started establishing operations in Kingston as well. And so the whole thing is growing. We now have about 60% of the workforce in Montego Bay and 40% in and around Kingston. At some point, Kingston it could surpass Montego Bay.
Okay, well, that is good to hear. So I like that you bring up the whole garment side of things. That Jamaica in the 80s had pursued garment manufacturing, and then we eventually got undercut. So we had companies like Hanes, which had a factory out near Montego Bay, if memory serves me correctly.
Yes.
And we had Brooks Brothers doing stuff down, I guess, off of Marcus Garvey Drive. Right? You know, and we did a lot of that. So Factories Corporation of Jamaica is an arm of the Jamaican government, and they control the majority of these buildings, which then went empty, and then they found use for them. And we have more now. I understand that we have even more buildings being rolled out.
That is a success story in itself.
Right.
And this is how one small investment can brew a whole number of other opportunities. We ran out of space very early. By about 2014, we ran out of space. And we had lofty goals lofty back then of growing the sector, doubling it in 3 to 5 years. So we're talking about moving from 10 to 20,000 persons in 3 to 5 years. But when we looked around, we only had 300,000 square feet of space. Right. I'm like, okay, so how are we going to do this? We can't put them, well, we didn't have work from home then.
Right.
So we did the calculation on it, and we needed about 1.2 million square foot of space.
Wow.
Yeah, which we're gonna have to find a way to build over that period. And so, you know, in discussions with the government, they decided to create a fund to support developers to build in commercial space for the BPO sector. And it was like a domino effect. As we're building one, they're filling it. We're building the next one, they're filling it. And we're at the point now where we now have space waiting for companies to come in.
No, man, I love that, because I've seen only one company that operates in the BPO space is publicly traded in Jamaica, and that's actually Stanley Matter, which is they own the space. They don't run the BPO, right? They have a pretty large company that is there that operates elsewhere in the world, and then we also have one company that has exposure to public Untitled BPO, as we all know. Yanni was I think he was the first chairman for the BPO industry, BPIAJ in Jamaica.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so there are two public companies that have stakes in ITEL, but ITEL itself isn't publicly traded. And then Usain Bolt has built a building, from what I understand, in Kingston that is opening up space for BPO.
I have to comment Usain there because, you know, with his nest egg, he has also invested in the sector. He actually owns 2 buildings.
2 buildings.
One in Kingston and one in Montego Bay.
So
he bought one that was being sold. At the time, it was occupied by what was then Xerox. I'm not sure who's there now. And there's one in Kingston, which was purpose-built.
Right.
That also has been taken up by a company called StarTech here in Jamaica.
No, and another thing that a lot of people, even some people inside Jamaica, but a lot of people outside don't realize that companies like Vistaprint have a pretty large workforce in Jamaica, mainly in Montego Bay, correct?
David, Vistaprint is has flown the Jamaican banner for a total number of 23 years.
Wow.
And again, another success story coming out of the tourism industry. It's interesting, all these anecdotal stories. The founder for Vistaprint, Robert, I remember his last name. He came here with his family about 7 years after he launched Vistaprint out of Massachusetts. Fell in love with the country, the people, and decided to start his first operation here in the free zone, probably about 200 or so people.
Wow.
And shortly after that, built a 1,000 seat facility. I think it's about 90,000 square feet in Fairview Park. And they have been there for the last 23 years, over close to 1,000 persons working there, supporting the entire US customer service. Wow. And back office for their HR operations, supervising centers even as far as the Philippines from Jamaica.
And that for me is a perfect example of doing more than call centers. I think people keep focusing on the call center part and don't realize that we can do accounting, you can do HR, and there's so much more, because now after COVID-19 has happened and work from home has become a reality, I think more people are now realizing that work from home means work from anywhere. And that means that job could be done somewhere else, provided they have the right talent, the right skill sets, and the right supervision.
Exactly. And which is where we want to take the discussion even further now, because you could be on the beach working and developing the next worldwide application, all from Jamaica.
So we get to that question here from Romeo on LinkedIn. What are some of the other areas besides BPO and tourism? It would be good to hear more about the other sectors so potential investors like me can explore more possibilities. So I know BPO is your baby, but you also know a lot more of where you think some opportunities are. Whether it's agro-processing is certainly one I would think of. Yeah. Heritage tourism, we could do some differences there, but I want to hear from you. I have ideas because we're investing in them. We have a list, but I want to hear from you. What else pops into your head?
Well, being the now chairman of the JV fund, I think you're gonna need all the opportunities lining up at your desk. But yes, so a lot of stuff is happening in Jamaica. We tend to speak a lot about tourism and the business process outsourcing, which incidentally are in the top 3 for foreign exchange earners right now.
Right.
So we can't discount them. We have to keep talking them up. Diversification is the name of the game. We are looking at a number of other sectors. Agri-processing and agriculture remains a solid area for us. We have, I wouldn't say we have missed the ball on it over the years, but I think we are attracting a lot more interest in the sector now, especially with all what's happening in the world. And food security is extremely important.
Extremely important.
You and your audience as well knows that the demand for Jamaican products in agriculture far surpasses what we've been able to deliver over the years. So that should tell you it's a great big opportunity. Yep. One of your previous interviewers has also stepped into the game. And when a billionaire looks into agriculture in Jamaica, that should be a clear signal that there's money to be made.
I was going to say, see me on the cover with me.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's like 2,000 acres. That is so, and I get to see. I get bi-weekly reports from Mike on their agricultural plans, and you also have what Gassan has been doing out in Lake Spen as well. So I agree with you. I love those, and then I basically tell everybody that they need to just look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals and those 17 areas. And Jamaica fills all of them. So we talk about climate resilience, you want to talk about renewable energy, waste management, water management. There's access to finance is a huge opportunity, SME financing in particular. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. And Jamaica is not getting poorer. Jamaica is slowly getting wealthier. And we can look at other developing countries, right? As countries created more wealth and moved up the income chain in terms of per capita income. Specific industries benefited from that, especially as you would say, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. No, this is the digital economy. So there's going to be a whole lot on that digital transformation side of things. Training in particular is going to be big.
That's a point that we are investing a lot of time and energy and funds in. The government has secured funding in the areas of training and innovation, supporting innovation for startups. They have signed agreements of, I believe, close to 25 million US dollars.
US dollars, yep. So,
and this is interestingly, these are grants and not loans.
Not loans.
Right. So companies under the Big E program out of DBJ will be able to receive up to 14 million Jamaican dollars to support innovative ideas in mid-sized companies, and even startups can access up to $2.5 million right now, which is a grant.
It's a grant, non-dilutive grant. So I have somebody, Carlot is on Instagram. They're watching me behind the scenes here, and she's saying that, you know, they're talking about like Iceland is trying to do the same thing. We're using remote work, trying to tell people that you can come here and do stuff there. So I think that Jamaica is definitely ahead of the game. Some of us would say that, you know, we could have been further ahead, but we had a massive debt overhang, and we had to deal with IMF, and that's gone now. We have good fiscal reforms in place. We've brought our debt to GDP ratio down from 147% to 97%. And as I was pointing out to somebody yesterday, I did a podcast interview yesterday morning, and I asked them, what is America's debt to GDP ratio today? Yes, the USA is different, but Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio at this point is now lower than the US's debt to GDP ratio, and it's going in the opposite direction. So
exactly.
you want to be looking at Jamaica to invest. I've seen Deidre on LinkedIn saying Jamaica has talent in IT, finance, and accounting, HR, marketing. The new way of working is an opportune time to expose the talent to the world. So spot on. I'm sure that's what you guys run around telling everybody. And nobody complains when JAMPRO says, hey, come to the Montego Bay Conference Center for our conference. Nobody says no to that.
So we've always, that event has always sold out. And the next one, and we can't ignore what's happening across the world, and surely here in Jamaica with the pandemic, we will be having the investment forum, and it will be virtual this year. Because of what's happening, and you will hear more about it shortly. We're in the planning stages of it now, and it's likely going to be in the first quarter of 2021. You'll hear more about the date. So,
all right, I'm looking forward to that one. And then I was going to say, you also do the manufacturers and exporters expo as well. Is that going to end up going virtual for 2021, or that's further away, so we don't know as yet what's happening there?
Yeah, we still don't know as yet. It was supposed to happen this year. We postponed it to September and then canceled it.
And then,
so, all cards are on the table for that.
I've been constantly surprised. JAMPRO every year invites me. I've been to a few of them, and I have been blown away with what is actually being produced in Jamaica. Whenever I go to the events, especially the expos, I was shocked as somebody who actually thinks I know a lot about Jamaica. Right? I read a lot about Jamaica. I visit every single month. I spend a week in Jamaica for the last 18 months up until COVID came. And so I go on tours. I go on tours of factories. I get to see things. And I was still surprised that there were so many companies doing such a range of things. And is it that they need help with marketing or PR? They need help with additional access to financing? What is one of the roadblocks that we in the diaspora could help these companies to overcome?
The roadblocks there have been, and you've touched on it, it's around marketing. Now, interestingly, marketing has gotten a lot more cheaper with the advent of social media. And so companies are utilizing those tools to get more into the North American market, where most of the diaspora reside, as well as the UK. They're also using Amazon warehouses to get to market, and more companies are accessing these channels. At some point when supply meets demand, then you'll see a further boom. There are tremendous amount of interesting products coming out of manufacturing, and there are a lot more opportunities for us to look at, because within agriculture we have tended to focus largely on the actual, fresh produce coming from the ground. There are tremendous opportunities around further refining those products and processing them for the ready-to-eat market. And I believe the Jamaican diaspora is sitting in the ideal place, seeing what the competitive trends are around them, knowing what their demands are and their needs are, and if they're able to match that with raw material here, I believe there are areas where we can flesh out more commercial opportunities.
So I see in Carlotta here on Iceland, on Instagram saying she's keen to help anyone who would like to market in Iceland. So I'm going to need to get your contact information.
Wow, she's actually a Jamaican in Iceland.
A Jamaican in Iceland. Carlotta, you need to DM me your contact info. I need to get you to JAMPRO. And that's what I want to hear. Right, we in the diaspora are, as we know, we're all over the place, man. Like Jamaicans, if you had permanent settlements in Antarctica, we would live there too, man. Come on, we're everywhere. And I've seen some of us, traditionally, we in New York, we in Toronto, we in Miami and so on, and we set up our own little distribution company and we import some products. And I think we could do that at larger scale on the diaspora side. Another thing that I have said to people, I give an example. So we went to a friend's barbecue. We have one friend that we interact with, and I'll go to his house, right? We're supposed to be careful with this pandemic. We're here in Orlando. It's not as bad in Orlando where we are, but went to the house for the barbecue, and I was on the way there, and I stopped to buy beer. I was like, I bring in beer to the barbecue. That's my contribution. Yeah. And when I went to the freezer in Publix, they had some Red Stripe, and then they have Stella, Heineken, all this stuff. Well, what am I going to buy? I actually don't drink that much Red Stripe, but I bought the Red Stripe because I need to buy it so that Publix sees it being bought and needs to reorder more. So if I go to a bar and I see Appleton or Red Stripe, I buy it just so that they see it selling and I get more people to see it and they'll order more. I think we
more Red Stripe, more cassava.
More Red Stripe, more cassava. Yeah, and that is true. Since you bring that up, because some people are not going to get why you made that joke about cassava, but Red Stripe is using cassava planted in Jamaica to help to actually manufacture the beer.
Exactly. We used to import the hops to make it, and with the drive by the government to look more on cassava production, they did a pilot project of a couple acres of cassava. The thing produced tremendous result and taste profile, and today the Red Stripe that you drink is made largely from cassava plants here in Jamaica. In fact, because of that, not solely because of that, but they actually moved a plant that was in the Northeast USA back to Jamaica.
Wow! All right, so I missed that one, and it's so interesting when we look at how this goes full circle. The former chairman of Red Stripe, who helped to oversee that cassava push, was Richard Biles, who is now the governor of the Bank of Jamaica, making sure that our fiscal reform stays in place. So I love that we've seen something like this that did really well. I've seen complaints from Carlotta say that there's no white rum or Red Stripe in Iceland. So she
surely need it in that temperature,
White rum we need in that temperature. Oh my gosh, man. We need to help her out big time. But no, I know
you figure that one out. I'll make a note of it.
I know you had 30 minutes, Vivion, and we're coming up on time now. So I want to let you close. Tell us some stuff that you want to close with, and then I will round out the show by myself after this. But anything else you want to just make sure we are having our ears perked up and ready, or what's JAMPRO's website?
Okay. Our website is easy. Do Business Jamaica. If you Google that, you'll end up at our primary website. So the word to leave you with is, having been in the North American market, I've heard the feedback from the diaspora a lot, and persons are looking for investments to participate in. Oftentimes, persons want arm's length investments, and so the way to go is to look at the Jamaican Stock Exchange, which has been performing tremendously for many years. We had a slump since the pandemic, but it's moving back again. So the time to buy was when it's low.
Yeah, man.
And so The government also is divesting and has promised to divest more. They've been divesting some companies that were in government held portfolios, and I know I've put those on the market to tremendous success, like the wind farm recently.
Yep.
And they will be doing more over the next couple of years, even based on the Prime Minister's recent pronouncement. So look out for those, participate in them, continue to buy Jamaican products, and influence and persons who are around you to get involved in Jamaican investments. As a number of our investments here have been made through Jamaican connections within corporate America.
Yep.
And persons have looked at Jamaica just by those nudges from Jamaicans within their network. So continue to do that on our behalf and buying our products. And if you ever need to discuss business opportunities, we have offices in New York, Toronto, and the UK for JAMPRO at the consulates.
All right. So I'm going to let you close by answering this last question from my friend Leighton Davis from Business Access TV. And he's asking, is there a marketing campaign to encourage the diaspora to buy Jamaican here, and maybe even helping us figure out where our locations are? Or is that something I need to go and launch?
David, you might touch on something right there, an opportunity. But yes, we've heard that comment over the years. We have made attempts of launching campaigns to buy more Jamaican products. It's quite expensive for us. It's now gotten cheaper. And even this video that you just aired at the start of your program, we launched it at the beginning of August. Never knew it was going to take off so well.
Right.
And it has gotten so many views and repeats. So we're going to be doing more of that through social media because it's more cost effective. And yes, we are going to continue building the brand and encourage Jamaicans overseas to buy Jamaican products.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Vivion. It's always great to talk to you off air, but it's even better to have you talk to the public about the things I get to talk to you about and sharing this knowledge. So, stay good. Please stay healthy. And we're going to follow up.
All right. Great, David. And congrats again on your support for Jamaica and the role you're playing as well.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you very much. All right. Bye-bye. So, guys, that is Vivion Scully, somebody I've known for many years with JAMPRO, which is the Jamaica Promotions Corporation. If you just search Do Business Jamaica, you'll be able to find their website and learn more about the opportunities in Jamaica. And this is why we do Island Forward Live. It's not for me to know this stuff and keep for myself or Blue Maho Capital alone to benefit from. I want everybody else to see the same opportunities in Jamaica that I see, right? And a lot of us in the diaspora don't travel down as much to Jamaica. We do read the newspapers. You should be reading Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, the business sections for Jamaica Gleaner and the Observer especially. But there's a lot of things that don't get reported. And so that's what I want to make sure we realize, that there's a tremendous opportunity. Thank you, Leighton, for a great question, Leighton. And we might have to discuss this, right? We shouldn't have to wait on JAMPRO and the government to do all of the marketing. If we know how to do marketing online to the diaspora, and then maybe a group of us should partner up and build that website about buying Jamaican, or we partner with Jamaicans.com, who's here, and create a section that's a searchable database that allows us to figure out what Jamaican brands are being sold in which countries, in which stores, right? Search by zip code, search by county. So yeah, man, I got to make a phone call to Xavier Murphy. So I love you saying that. As you can see, Tessa, this is sponsored by Jamaicans.com. It airs on Jamaicans.com. So Xavier and I are really close, and we're going to have to bring this up. I see Romeo is saying that it would be connected. I want to make sure you guys see this. Romeo and Deidre are connecting via comments here based on what was being discussed, because they want to do things together in Jamaica now. And this is exactly what I want to see, right? Me bringing somebody on the show and talking about the opportunities that I am seeing, the opportunities that somebody like Vivion Scully at JAMPRO is promoting to all the investors, not just American investors. They're promoting to everybody. They want Jamaicans to invest back into Jamaica as well. Don't think that they're only talking to one set of people or only Fortune 500 companies. And all the opportunities aren't reserved for billionaires and for massive companies. We want to make sure that the average person can also participate and see some opportunities. And that's what JAMPRO does. JAMPRO really allows you to understand what what do you need to do business in Jamaica? Identify partners with you, whether you want to do Kandaki, for example, where they could find you someone that's already doing the canning and has the HACCP certification in Jamaica, right? And then you could partner with them and build your own brand and then go from there. So definitely do that. So I like this. Mary saying, when possible, I buy Jamaican. And I think that is something that is beneficial. And we should keep trying to do that, right? As always, I tell people that you buy Jamaican, we want to make sure it's good quality though, right? Quality matters. But if the quality is going to be comparable, then support. Buy the Jamaican goods, buy Jamaican services. We're wearing face masks right now. I ordered a mask from a friend of mine in Jamaica, and she shipped it via the Jamaica Postal Service, and it's coming here, and it's a mask for my wife. So, I have to buy a mask anyway. Let me try and support somebody like that, and I think that's going to be important. I love that Vivion obviously brought up the fact that you can invest in some of the companies that are publicly listed in Jamaica as well, and own a piece of the rock and benefit from those opportunities and that growth. Right? Jamaica was the best performing stock exchange for the last 5 years to the end of 2019 in the whole world. Right, it was Jamaica, the US, Vietnam. And it's down now. It's down some 25 to 30% since February, but that's expected. Now is even cheaper. Blue Moho Capital, which I founded, is investing in the stock exchange in Jamaica and elsewhere, and we're going to continue doing that. You will hear more about that in the next few months. I do my best not to blatantly promote that, even though it's my show. We'll eventually discuss that one. But yes, we actively are purchasing net buyers. We don't sell anything at this point in a number of companies in Jamaica, and we're building up some sizable positions. And we do intend to do an IPO here in the United States that would allow anybody to purchase our stock, especially the diaspora. So I see Don Marie saying from the UK, what is, if anything, being done against other cultures to copy? That's a really good question. We talk about brand Jamaica, but Jamaica, from what I understand, only has 3 geographic registrations, right? So we talk about copyright and trademark. Those 2 things are important. Jamaica is not a signatory to the Madrid Protocol, so that's the first problem. So from an international copyright and trademark issue, we are not a signatory to the Madrid Protocol. We are now doing that. Obviously, Blue Mountain Coffee is one of the things that they can't copy, but we don't have jerk or Jamaican jerk sauce is not something that is a geographic marker, right? Champagne is a good example. You can't just call anything champagne. It has to be grown in a specific region of France. It's the same way that you can't just call everything Blue Mountain Coffee. It has to be grown at a certain elevation in Jamaica. And then you have High Mountain Coffee and so on. So we need to do better. Trinidad only has one geographic marker. Jamaica has 3. Cuba is somewhere above 1,000. So we need to go and learn from that. Jamaican ginger, Jamaican Scotch bonnet pepper, Jamaican Sea Island cotton. And we have a number of things that we need to do. But I know that they're also working on some sort of program that would allow you to use an app to scan the barcode of an item and then quickly have it look into a database to tell you if it's an authentic Jamaican product. So I know that is in the works. I actually 2 years ago set up a meeting with that company, with JAMPRO. Another company is now looking at that, but that is coming, where you'd be able to just scan, look at the barcode, and it would tell you if it's an authentic Jamaican product or not. And that is important. I like that. So, of course, Mario is saying we have to connect because he lives in Altamont Springs, which is just 30 minutes north of me. So send me a message, and we're definitely going to connect, Mario. I love it. I like this one. Cornell is saying that to grow the economy, we must first tackle the monster of crime and corruption. There is no question about that. It is the single biggest millstone around Jamaica's neck. But Jamaica can do it, right? We look at Colombia as an example. Jamaica and Colombia at one point were in the top 3 countries in the world for murder rate per capita. And Colombia has done a really good job overcoming an actual war, right? They had an actual war between the FARC rebels, and they have been able to bring down their crime rates. Jamaica can learn a lot from a country like Colombia. And I keep repeating this. I said it last week on the show. There was a World Bank study a few years ago that said that if Jamaica was able to bring its crime rate down to that of Costa Rica, we would see 3.5% GDP growth per year. 3.5%. 3.5% is 2.5 times Jamaica's highest growth rate in the last 25 years. So you can imagine what that would do. I seen Don Marie saying that's good. Thanks, Romeo. I love these comments regarding registration of trademarks. I've been asking this question for years, and I'm marveled why we have taken so long to get this done. Good progress, though. I see companies here in London copying our brands and using our names on products all the time. And that is true. That's proof that brand Jamaica is big and valuable, but you need to protect it. A brand is not worth anything unless it's protected. Apple has shown us that. Nike, Disney, they've taught us about the importance of brand, right? Brand value is worth more than just what the company is worth. And we need to recognize brand Jamaica matters, but importantly, we need to define brand Jamaica. We talk about it, but we have not defined brand Jamaica for the world. And that definitely would allow us to diversify our economy. When you think of Jamaica and we think of whether it's reggae music or we think of marijuana, we think of the other agricultural products, right? Soursop, sweet sop, jackfruit, mango. We could list on and on and on. There's so much. Our sweet peppers, our ginger, our coffee. There's so much that we need to make sure that we protect. And I would love that when I go to Bahama Breeze here, which is based, the corporate headquarters is based here in Orlando, Darden Restaurant, and I ordered Jamaican jerk chicken, that it had to use a Jamaican jerk seasoning made in Jamaica. Otherwise, I couldn't use the name Jamaican jerk. I think that's a no-brainer, right? You don't walk around saying that you're doing a different kind of chicken and it didn't pay something, right? There's a cultural part of it, and we need to be careful with protecting it. I see in Shirley, hi, first time watching a program. I wish we have a Jamaican store in Ireland to get our JA items. Look at this. Well, I have Ireland. Big up, Shirley. Thank you for joining in. Guys, there's an opportunity in Ireland for that Jamaica store. And of course, we really could step up the e-commerce game, right? There's no question. I see in Chrissy G on Instagram saying, I like the sound of that. We have to protect our brand. There's no question. Carlotta saying the same thing. We should do a lot to protect our brands. But Carlotta says that Iceland has all the saltfish you need. Let's talk. I love that. Jamaicans love them saltfish, man. So Dawn Marie Williams, music, even both poses and Jamaican phrases copied on British TV. So I don't know if the pose could be trademarked, to be honest, but definitely iconography around that pose could be trademarked. And Bolt has trademarked some of that for his clothing. But our music, yes, our music is copied, but at the same time, we copied music, right? We copied rhythm and blues. Music is something that's more fluid. So for you to say it's reggae music, I don't think you're going to be able to say that it has to be done by certain people, right? We have to be careful about that. We want to encourage them to do like No Doubt and Gwen Stefani, come to Jamaica and record at GJAM Studios or record some of your album in Jamaica, right? Obviously, the Marleys do a lot of that. Sean Paul does that. Shaggy, we need more of those Americans who are using our music, or Europeans, to use Jamaican producers, use Jamaican musicians, right? You should be using the Dean Frasers to play on your rhythm or to play on your album. So that would be great. This is Romeo asking the person from Ireland to connect with me. I have a few companies I can introduce her to order, and they ship it to her from London. So Shirley Morgan, you're on Facebook, Romeo FCR on LinkedIn. You guys need to email me. So email me, david@bluemahocapital.com, and then I will connect the both of you. And let's see if we can get something happening. That would be awesome to see this online show done at home, in the middle of a pandemic, get to connect two people so that we can ensure that Jamaican products, authentic Jamaican products, are getting into the hands of Jamaicans in Ireland who want it. Elton Gardner saying, amen to no imitators of JAMPRO products, especially our food. 100% agree with that, man. Imitation is not flattery. I need to be very clear about it. I don't believe so. Imitation is not flattery. It is robbery, right? If you are using somebody else's culture to make money and you put nothing back into that country, then you're just stealing, right? You're just stealing. And we need to change that and ensure that we earn from our culture. And that's going to be crucial. And so I see Shirley saying that would be wonderful. So yes, it would be wonderful if I get to plug you guys together. I really want to see that happen. If that's all that comes out of this season, it really would be great. Romeo, email is simple. David, my first name, as you can see, David. So David at bluemahocapital.com, and as in the National Tree of Jamaica, Bluemaho, so BLUEMAHOE.com. You know, I can write it on here and I can have it as a banner. Let me set this up. I have, see, you guys see me do some production. By the way, I don't have a team doing this for me. This is me one at home. So I am typing this. I want to make sure it's correct, and then I'm going to put it up. I can scroll it across. Oh, so this is it. So that's my email address. So whoever wants to reach out to me, email me, and I will happily do a discussion with you. I can talk about the industries that we are seeing opportunity in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. We're not just investing in Jamaica. We are looking at opportunities in Barbados, Guyana, Cayman, Bahamas, and Trinidad and Tobago. And now look at this email sent. Man, move fast. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Keon is bringing up, true. It is copied all the time, indeed, with no remuneration to Jamaica. And so we need to ensure that we are earning. We need to be earning from this. I've seen some fun comments on Instagram. Instagram is where I have the background, the behind the scenes. So, of course, here's my good friend Nicole Safley. I'd love to know what you use to live stream to the multiple platforms. So, you know what, I'm going to show you. I am going to pull it up. I'm going to give you a behind the scenes. Since we're wrapping up right now, I can pull up the banner and I'm going to click the one that shows you. Oh, I can go to the brand. So this is what I actually use. StreamYard. StreamYard.com is so impressive. It allows me to stream. Right now, I'm streaming. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share the screen. You guys, this is going to get a little confusing because you're going to see my screen. But so it's going to, like, you know what happens, right? It's going to have this mirror effect. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Yikes. Okay, so I stream into my personal Facebook page right now, Bluemaho's Facebook page, my Facebook personal account, the Jamaicans.com Facebook page, my LinkedIn profile, my Bluemaho Capital YouTube page, and my Twitter account right now, all via StreamYard. I can pull in these comments, these questions for all of you guys, and doing that. And so the free version allows you to only do out to one place. The paid version allows you to do all of these options, and it can include Twitch as well. So when I do my video gaming on the weekends, I stream out to Twitch using StreamYard. You can add guests, I can show videos, so it's really good. And Nicole and I will talk. You guys will hear more about Nicole Safley in a few weeks. Nicole, we should have something to announce, right? Good afternoon, Ricardo Porcius. Rochelle is saying, enjoyed today's episode. David, looking forward to the next one. Thank you, Rochelle. I want to try and get a guest over here next week. And then, Landy, big up Landy in Jamaica. He actually knows more about online video production than me, way more. He's a professional. So maybe one day we can do something live in Jamaica, and Landy will be the one doing that. I've seen Elton asking me, yes, I've seen Leo Gillen. Leo has a show on Jamaicans.com as well. I know Leo, and I haven't seen him recently because I haven't been down to South Florida. I am Panama Yard right now. And then, of course, Carlotto, you say you want to have a chat with me later. Yeah, man. So just DM me, and I'm going to send you my calendar link, and you can get on my calendar and we do a sit down. But guys, we're going to start wrapping up. This has been a lot of fun. I hope that you learned a lot from what Vivion had to talk about with JAMPRO, Jamaica Trade and Invest. We tend to accuse government and government entities of not doing their jobs, not pulling their weight. But JAMPRO has been doing a good job. Don Webby is a chairman, right? He's chairman and CEO of Grace Keddy. He's a chairman of JAMPRO. One day we will get him on the show as well to talk more. Diane Edwards, who runs JAMPRO. Yes, there's always room for improvement. Continuous improvement is important, but we need to make sure that we still give credit where credit is due. We give constructive criticism, and we play our part, right? I don't wait on JAMPRO to do my stuff. I didn't wait on JAMPRO to do the show. I didn't wait on JAMPRO to do my own road shows for investing in Jamaica. I didn't have to wait on the government to set up anything. We found a way to do it on our own and then reached out to people and went from there. So we should be taking some personal responsibility to do things as well. Stop waiting on everybody. And so Nicole is going to say JAMPRO has been extremely helpful for us. And you guys will hear about, Nicole is investing in an area that we are very excited about. And you'll hear more about what's happening with that one. But I'm very glad to hear that, Nicole, and I'll make sure to pass it on to the JAMPRO team. Guys, this has been great. Rep JA saying it's a great episode. I appreciate that. I see DJ Narity just jump in. Thank you, guys. Next week, Wednesday, we're going to keep this topic going about diversifying the Jamaican economy. So we'll get somebody else on to talk about some other areas that a lot of you are looking for. Chrissy G on Instagram is saying, this was my first time and I learned a lot from sticking around. So guys, remember, every Wednesday, 1 p.m., right now is 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So that's 12 Jamaica time. And you can add on or subtract the times the hours you need. But thank you, guys. I just want to keep sharing knowledge. And next week, Ingrid send her love. I'm glad to hear that. Next week, we're going to be going over something that most of you have probably not seen and not read. I'm going to tell you, I don't even want to mess up the name of it, but there was a COVID-19 committee in Jamaica. And I'm going to tell you exactly the name of the file. I'm going to review that document next week with you guys. But there was a Rebuild Jamaica COVID-19 Economic Recovery Task Force report. And so I have a copy of that report, and I want to discuss that report next week. I'm going to start going into it in detail. There's some really interesting recommendations. If you think that people in Jamaica are not thinking about post-COVID, you are very wrong. It was a really detailed document, and it was chaired by the Minister of Finance, which is Dr. Nigel Clark. So next week, let's discuss that and share it. And looking forward to this, guys. I really appreciate this. Blessings to you, Elton, as well, everybody on Instagram, IG family. This is fun. I enjoy doing this, guys. So everybody stay safe and keep it going. One love, respect.